שלום לכולם, כאן גלעד אלפר, אני נמצא בפראג, בירת צ'כיה, ואני מדבר עם פרמסיל ספסיל. אני מקווה שאני מבטא את השם הזה כמו שצריך, ואני נמצא במטווח וגם בחנות נשק בפראג, ורציתי לדבר עם פרמסיל קצת על תרבות הנשק בצ'כיה, למי מותר כאן להחזיק נשק ומי לא, וגם כמובן להשוות את זה למה שקורה בארץ. Okay, Premysl, thanks very much for agreeing to speak with me.
Sure, no problem. It's a pleasure.
Okay, and the first thing I'd like to ask you, is it overall legal for almost every citizen in the Czech Republic above a certain age to own guns?
It is.
It is.
Exactly as you said it. The main thing is that, of course, you gotta have no criminal record, and you gotta be physically and mentally healthy.
Okay.
And that's it, pretty much. Then, of course, there is an age condition, but
Right.
you could say that, like, pretty much every Czech citizen that is ever born can, at one point, get a gun license and buy guns.
And the age limit is 18?
There are several.
Okay.
It really depends. The most, let's say, standard age limit is 21. That's when you want to buy guns for your personal defense.
Right.
But you can also make a lower, let's say, level of the gun license at 18. And that's for sport.
Okay.
In case you are a part of some,
club.
Sport club, exactly. Yeah. And then there is a third age category, that's 16, when you're studying on a school that has guns or gunsmithing or stuff like that, or hunting perhaps, as a part of their curriculum.
So you have schools in the Czech Republic where people learn gunsmithing?
Yes.
And also have like hunting clubs inside the school?
Yeah, yes, you could say that.
Okay. And other than being of a certain age and not having a criminal record and being of mental and physical, I don't know, like basic fitness, you need to do some qualifications, right? You need to learn how to shoot. It's a course, I guess.
Exactly. Like preparation courses are not mandatory. It's your decision whether you seek professional help in that case and get a really good course that is going to actually prepare you well for what's waiting, because the process itself is not like anyhow easy. So the courses are not mandatory, but of course it's a good idea to go through one if you really want to be prepared for what's waiting.
The courses are not mandatory. It means that as long as I'm, let's say, 25 years old, I'm fit, I'm healthy, I'm not crazy, I'm not a criminal, I can get a gun.
Yes, if you manage to pass the examination.
So there is an examination.
There is an exam,
okay.
But the preparation course is not mandatory.
Oh, okay, fine. But an exam is mandatory.
Yeah, but exam is mandatory.
The exam is theoretical or practical or both?
Both.
Okay, fine.
Both. Yeah, so the first step is that you have to visit your doctor, your standard general doctor.
Physician, right.
General physician, exactly. To get a confirmation whether or not you are
fit,
healthy, you're fit. It's also on the doctor to decide whether or not you need to go through some additional tests to that are aimed on mental health. So it's also not mandatory to go through that.
Okay.
But
the general physician needs to sign off on your mental and physical health.
Sign the paper.
And he might demand that you go to speak with a psychiatrist or do something like that.
In case this general doctor decides that it should be done.
That something is off for you. Okay.
That something is off, but it's happening very little.
Okay, so the next question is, what guns are you allowed to own? Let's say you're 21, forget about 16, 18, but you're 21, you're just normal ownership of guns in the Czech Republic. What guns are you allowed to own and how many?
There is no limit in numbers.
Yeah.
So theoretically you can own 100, you can own 200 guns, whatever, as long as you have a place where to store them.
And money to buy them.
Money to buy them, and you meet the conditions prescribed by law to you know, the specifics of the storage facility. You can own how many guns you want, and when we're talking gun types, there also almost like isn't any limit to that. Like as long as it's single semi-auto.
So it's
single fire.
It's not allowed to own automatic guns.
No.
Okay.
Military, they are classified all as military guns here when they are full auto, but when they are not, you can get them.
So we're talking about Glocks and revolvers and carbines and shotguns and PCCs and AR-15s. AR-15, which is like the civilian version of M16.
Pretty much.
Version of an M16.
Yes. It's
as long as it's semi-automatic, as a Czech citizen, I'm allowed to own an M16.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Including shotguns, like I said, like the Benelli M4 that John Wick was
pretty
using in John Wick 2,
pistol,
I can own that as well.
Any revolver, any PCC or you know, personal defense weapons, the PDWs, any rifles that have the look of assault rifles but aren't, which usually are the AR-15 types, because AR-15 is a platform, it means Armor Light 15, right? So it's a you know, from start to finish civilian market designed and produced weapon, and also the guns that used to be full auto but were, you know, were adjusted to fire only single.
Yeah.
So like AKs and the Models 58, which
AK is a Kalashnikov.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the Kalashnikov. And the 58 is the famous Czech variant of it. Like it's actually not a variant, it's a gun completely designed and built here during the old times, and it has very little to do with the AK, but it looks similar.
Okay.
So also the guns that used to be full auto but aren't anymore. So anything that is semi,
as long as semi-automatic, it's fine.
Yeah. Even the 50 caliber sniper rifle.
Okay, and you said earlier that one thing that you need to have is a safe in your house where you store the guns. You can't just put them in the cupboard.
There are specific conditions that are prescribed by law on how you have to store the guns, but it also has a lot to do with how many guns you actually own. Because if you have up to 2 guns, which are according to our law, category B, which is most pistols, most AR-15s, most semi-auto firearms that use magazines and automatically cycle, but only fire one shot after trigger pull. Up to 2 guns of this type, you can just secure them enough to prevent them being stolen or misused, which means a lot of things, but technically it means that you can put them under your pillow, and that's fine.
So I can own and put under my bed, let's say, or under my pillow, a shotgun and an M16.
Or,
shotgun and a Glock, whatever.
Or but 2 AR-15s.
But then if I want to have more than 2 guns, then I need to put them in a safe.
Yes. When it's above 2 until 10, or up to 10, you gotta have a not exactly like a safe, but the, let's say, lower variant of safe.
Okay, like a cupboard with I don't know.
It has to be. It has to be steel. But it doesn't have to have the
like an office cabinet. Like an office cabinet where you hold files.
Yes, it has to be lockable.
Okay, fine.
It doesn't have to have the certification of an actual gun safe.
Okay. Fine. Now, I checked already, and I know that the crime rate in the Czech Republic is among the lowest in Europe, maybe the lowest, but it's among the lowest. How many incidents of mass shootings did you have in the Czech Republic over the past 50 years?
Over the past 50 years?
Approximately.
Approximately.
I mean, you're not an historian, but 1, 2, 3, 10, 20?
I remember at least, not at least, I remember 1, 2, 3, right?
3.
Yeah.
The audience is helping us.
Yes, yes, the audience is helping us. 3 in the past, not 50, but 25 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with such a low crime rate and, well, 3 mass shootings in 25 years is close to 0. How do you explain that the Czech Republic is one of the, I mean, if you look at the UK, France, Germany, Holland, Italy, Spain, all of those, Scandinavia, well, sorry, not Finland, but actually I'm not even sure about Sweden and Norway. But anyway, certainly the big Western European countries like France and Germany and the UK, guns are not allowed at all, or almost at all.
Yeah.
What is so unique about the Czech Republic? I should also add that also in Austria and Finland and Switzerland, people are allowed to own guns, although I'm not sure if it's as easy as it is in the Czech Republic, but they are allowed to own guns. So what's so unique about the Czech Republic?
First of all, I would say that it's something like a national heritage.
Okay.
Kind of, because, you know, given our where we are situated in the very center of the Central Europe,
Yeah.
With a lot of neighbors around, we always had to fight quite hard.
When you're saying a lot of neighbors, are you saying Germany?
I'm saying Germany, but I'm
Yeah.
also saying Poland,
Okay.
which we had some trouble with around the end of First World War, for example.
Okay.
So we always had to fight for our survival, something like Israel actually. Yeah, but like not that much,
Yeah.
of course. But there were fights in the past, and so like this sort of ability or allowance for the citizens to
Yeah.
actually be allowed to own guns, train with them and use them is here since the very start of the country.
Okay.
Back in the beginning of 20th century. Then of course with communism it went away, but when we got free again, it came back.
Okay. When you're saying it came back, you mean?
The let's say the tradition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of citizens being allowed to arm themselves.
Okay, and oh, sorry, you're saying that once when you were under communist occupation, you weren't allowed to own guns.
It was heavily
and now you're
restricted.
allowed. Okay, and now I get you. Now the war with in the Ukraine, is that having an impact, as in it increases the motivation to hold guns, or is it something that you guys don't even care about?
Of course we do,
You
but it's not having a continuous impact. It had like you know, like a peak impact back when it all started.
Yeah.
In the beginning of February, March 22. Back then, there was an obvious increase in people that were trying to get licensed, but it didn't last long. It was like half a year situation, and then it kind of decreased back to the standard numbers. But what it also increased at that time was gun sales, of course, which then also decreased back to normal. But it's pretty much, you know, every time something like that happens in the world, or especially in Europe or somewhere close to Europe, it has impact. But it's not lasting like forever. It's
well, the point is you're
months.
allowed to own guns anyway, so okay.
Sure.
Fine.
Yeah.
And just to a little bit about prices. What would a new Glock 19, you know, 5th generation MOS with all of the whatever, how much will it cost me here? Approximately.
That piece, it's around 22,000 Czech crowns. I can quickly just transfer to euros.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's $900.
Yeah, it's
$900.
around 880 euros.
So you would say it's
$900.
something like 20-25% cheaper than it is in Israel. Now, when you hear, I mean, the reason I'm talking with you is because I'm obviously an Israeli and I live in Israel. And I want to show the Israeli public how they're being mistreated by the government. Because in Israel, though, we are facing much bigger threats than almost any other country in the West. certainly
True.
much bigger than the Czech Republic.
And on
We're
daily
not,
basis.
we're not allowed to own guns, or most of us are not. I'm not allowed to own guns. I have no criminal record. I spent. That's a stupid word to use. I served 3 years in the army. I served in the reserve for years. As a combat soldier, I'm not allowed to own guns. When you hear that, what do you think? Does it make sense to you?
No, I think that's a tragic decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, especially when all Israeli citizens have to serve at some point.
Yeah.
There is training, and like, I understand that when you get out of that circle, the skills get rusty. Of course they do.
Right.
But why not to work on that? Why not to, you know, focus on getting these citizens that have the history? They know at least in a limited way what's it about. Why not to, you know, give them the opportunity to train again, to get in shape, to get ready, because the danger in your country is on everyday basis.
Right.
And
it's pretty amazing that it's so obvious to everyone who knows anything about what's going on. Obviously, people that deal with guns, it's so obvious that it's crazy what's going on in Israel. But in Israel, it's not considered crazy. Or at least, well, to be honest, after October 7th, people have kind of woken up to the notion that we are being terribly treated by the government by not allowing us to own guns. So people are waking up to the absurdity of the situation. Let me ask you another question. One of the things people in Israel claim is that guns are a threat over women, and that men will use guns to hurt women, to kill women. That's something that politicians like to talk about all the time. Do we have a point of view on that? Is that something that anyone in the Czech Republic is speaking about? Is this a topic of discussion? You know, men murdering their wives or their girlfriends with guns?
that's laughable.
It's laughable.
It's absolutely.
Why?
Sorry, stupid.
Why?
Why would it be a thing? You know, like, even in countries where guns are normally available, if it's here or if it's, for example, the southern United States, where the policy is way more liberal than it is here. Like, when a man wants to murder his wife, like he uses what he usually strangles her, or like, you know,
stabs her
over with a car, or stabs her with a knife. Like, it's usually the things of everyday use. It's usually not a firearm, you know.
By the way,
like,
you're making dangerous idea, because I think in the UK, one of the politicians in the UK offered a few days ago to blunt all of the knives in the UK so that people won't be able to use them to murder people. Politicians can be that stupid. I mean, even in Israel, I don't remember a politician being so stupid. But I'm just saying, this is something people think about.
UK is,
you know, you can then make cars illegal, so you can't run over anyone with a car. You can make pillows illegal, because then you can't strangle anyone with a pillow.
Yes,
you can basically make everything illegal.
Everything. Like, you know,
including life.
The UK is a showcase of everything that can go possibly wrong with the country. Yeah, it's so bad.
I should say that in Israel, the statistics is like the number of women that are being murdered by men owning legal guns is extremely low, low. The huge majority, like 95% or 98% or whatever, is strangulation, stabbing.
Yeah, the standard
and
stuff.
Whatever, the standard stuff.
Standard stuff.
Yeah,
it sounds weird, but it's the standard stuff.
That's
the point. You know, like, there's always going to be cases, of course.
Of course.
But it's going to be 0.0000 something.
Yeah, it's just like we said earlier. Politicians like to jump on opportunities.
Yes.
And whenever something, you know, you can spend decades with everything is just hunky dory, no problems at all, and then something happens, one incident, and immediately the politicians jump all over it and try to, you know, make some gain. You wanted to explain at more depth the process of getting a license in the Czech Republic.
Sure, we can get to that, but I would like to just briefly continue on what you said in terms of politicians getting opportunities. Big thing about citizens or of some country, normal civilians being allowed to own guns is that, you know, for example here, it's understood between people that it's also one of the fail-safes in terms or in case the government actually decides to do something that is just not cool, like what we've experienced with the communism.
Right.
We have the means to stop our freedom from being taken from us.
To fight the government.
You could say it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
It is like that, it's like the last resort when things really go very bad.
Yeah.
And you know, it's this thing with communism that happened here is deeply rooted in people, and we just don't want to allow anybody to take our freedom from us ever again. And it's the same with in the U.S. It's
yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's
part
in
of the
their
culture,
constitution.
and part of the constitution,
it's part of the
culture.
And actually, here it was also added into the constitution 2 years ago that every Czech citizen shall be allowed to defend themselves with a weapon. It's not specified as firearm, but with a weapon. So, the biggest law.
So it's either a Swiss Army knife or a weapon.
Whatever it is. As long as somebody's trying to hurt you, you are legally allowed to defend yourself by any means necessary.
Okay. Okay. It's not a joke, but the sad point is that people might think about the government trying to take your freedoms as something very far-fetched. As in, the chances of that happening are so low that it doesn't make even sense to get rid of it, to get ready for that.
Yeah.
I disagree with that. I'm just saying, even if you think that as an Israeli, the entire idea is, it's almost unnecessary. I mean, we have terrorists basically roaming the streets of Israel. You don't have to think in Israel about some imaginary scenario where the government becomes tyrannical and you have to defend yourself, the citizen, from the tyranny. I mean, you have terrorists. We know that. So, okay, that's just that. Just another point about how crazy Israel is.
Sure. I actually like what I also wanted to point out by saying what I said is that I believe most of the big Western European countries don't have this situation that we have with armed civilians exactly because of that. Yeah, because like of course it's not that easy. The problem is that they are far bigger than us, and there are more people than here, way more people. So there is a big difference between a country that has 10 million people and a country that has 80 million.
Yeah.
Of course that there are more cultures mixed and more ideas, but like in terms of Germany, for example, it seems to be like the aftermath of Second War.
Right.
That they kind of understand that they just shouldn't be allowed to own guns, and that's it.
Well, this is one lesson. I mean, the other lesson I would learn from what happened in Germany is that you should own guns.
Definitely.
I mean, the lesson I would take is exactly the opposite. I mean, especially as a Jew in Germany, I would have loved.
There's so much stuff.
I mean, I wish Jews then had guns in Germany. Maybe things would have been a little bit different. Maybe. I mean, who knows?
Could be. Like, it is known that it was actually allowed in pre-World War II Germany to own guns,
Right.
and that was the first thing that went away
Yeah.
when the regime, you know, started.
Yeah,
to
I
arrive.
think, I hope I'm not getting my dates confused, but I think it's in 1936,
I believe so.
Hitler decided to confiscate weapons from the population.
to
Which,
unarm.
which says a lot about the notion of politicians not wanting their citizens or subjects to be armed. Okay, you wanted to talk about the licensing
Yes,
process.
because it's quite a process. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I've already said that first is the doctor. That's covered, but then the person who is applying needs to go to the police and
Get them to basically certify that he doesn't have a criminal record.
yes, they'll check everything, and if it's okay, they're going to give you the date of examination, which is happening always on a shooting range.
Uh-huh.
So when you get and when this person gets the date, then it's up to them to decide whether to go through a course that's going to prepare them or self-educate,
Okay.
which is of course not advisable because it's difficult and there's a lot of stuff to cover. So
So you mean it's not advisable because people should know how to use guns?
yes, exactly.
If you own a gun, you might as well know how to use it.
Like from time to time, you happen to meet a self-learner, almost.
I wouldn't advise anyone to be a
but
self-learner
yeah,
with guns. It sounds immensely
usually,
stupid.
You know, their level of general knowledge about the subject is usually tragic when they self-learn.
It's from watching John Wick
Yeah, and
or Dirty Harry. For anyone who's older, than, a little bit
80s,
older
90s
watching
action
us.
movies, or Rambo, ideally. Like, of course, this whole like preparation process is more or less covered also on social media, like you do. But the problem is that the people that usually put out these videos think too highly about their
own knowledge, their
about
own
the
expertise.
subject. So we know that those videos lack quite a bit of important stuff, and even if you just follow exactly what's being said there, your chances aren't very high to successfully go through the exam.
Yeah, I would say just in Israel there is, I mean, if you're lucky enough to actually be able to own a gun, then they do make you go through a course. But the course is I think is too short and it doesn't cover enough, and I would have actually liked, other than having everyone who's, without a criminal record and all of that stuff to be able to own a gun in Israel, but I would also demand that the course would be a bit more extensive than what it is now in Israel. Okay.
Yeah. So then the exam itself has two parts, theoretical and practical. First is a test. You have 30 questions and 40 minutes to answer them, and it's a mix of stuff taken from the law and some technical things to kind of with that you prove your, let's say, general knowledge about the subject, and you also prove that your mental capacity is big enough to absorb all that.
You're not a complete idiot.
Yes.
Okay, good. That's important.
And the practical exam is all about the practical stuff. So there you have to prove that you know what you're doing with the gun, and that you can perform everything while maintaining safety that's demanded, and that you can also hit a target at specific distance in specific time frame. When we were talking about the guns, the gun types, when you're applying for a gun license category E, which is for self-defense, the condition is that you gotta hit a target that is 10 meters away 5 times in 3 minutes of time.
Sorry, you need to hit target 5 meters away.
10 meters away.
Sorry,
5
10 meters
times
away, 5 times.
in 3 minutes.
Well,
It's very easy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and that
3 minutes.
3 minutes. You,
You
have
can
all the
fall
time.
asleep in the minute.
Yes, you have all the time in the world to do that. And the funny thing is that like there isn't a specific like part of the target that you gotta hit, like the center, for example, or the black area, which is usually
You
like
just need to hit
you
the
just need to
entire
hit the entire
poster.
target,
Yeah.
not the paper, but the circles, as we say. Yeah, and you actually don't
okay,
need
so
to,
you do need to hit the circles.
you need to hit the circles,
Okay,
but all
okay.
of them. So
Okay.
from 1 to 10. Yeah,
Okay.
Because, what's prescribed by law is the international pistol target, which is quite big. It's 0.5 meter to 35 or something.
I'm showing it
So-
right now on the
so-
background as we speak.
Yeah. So
in post-production.
So it's quite big, and you have all the circles available for you. And
Yeah.
actually, you don't even need to hit all those 5 rounds. You need to hit at least 4 out of 5.
Okay.
So the shooting part could use
Later on, we're going to see if I can do it. Okay.
Yeah. So sure. So the shooting part could use a bit of a redo because it's way too simple. So and even you know with it being this simple, there are still people sometimes that cannot hit that. Yeah.
So here's a question for you. If someone doesn't pass the exam, do you think he shouldn't be allowed to own a gun?
I would say that it depends hugely on which part of the exam.
The practical.
The practical.
You know, he can't hit nothing. He doesn't hit anything. He's really bad.
I would say that like
The reason I'm asking is
Yeah.
that you have two opposing views here. The
Uh-huh.
first one is that, look, owning a gun is the birthright of any living being. You're a human being, you know, you own yourself, you have rights given to you by God or by the universe or whatever, and one of those rights is the ability to protect yourself.
Mhm.
And that you can do only with a gun. And therefore it's no one's right, no one has the right to tell you that you can't own a gun no matter how bad you are. The opposing view is that, look, owning a gun is like driving a car. I mean, you drive a car in a
Mhm.
public space, you need to know how not to hit anyone. So if it's, if you have to learn how to drive a car, you have to pass an exam for that. You have to learn how to shoot a gun and to pass an exam for that. So these are two opposing views. I would have to say that ideologically, the position that anyone, you know, is entitled to own a gun, ideologically is correct.
Mhm.
But in practice, I don't want to walk around in the streets being surrounded by people that have no idea how to use
how
a gun.
to use them.
Especially when there's something actually
Yeah.
going on, like a terrorist or whatever.
Sure. So what I would say, or what I would choose as the solution is, if you do a minor mistake, please repeat it.
Yeah.
But if you fail miserably, if you
Time after
miss
time
4
after
out of
time.
5, or if
Something
it's
is
all
definitely
over the
wrong
place,
with you.
if it's like obviously wrong, that you know it's just 100% assured that you didn't train.
Then practice kickboxing.
Then I would
Yeah.
give you a second chance in, let's say, half a year, but I would give you very limited space on the target, and you would have to reach specific score.
Okay.
If you don't, I would give you at least 1 year pause.
Okay.
Get yourself correct, fix your head, fix your approach to the subject, and then try again. But if you repeat it again after that year, bye-bye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Again, practical matters here, I think, trump anything that's ideological. Okay, and anything else we want to discuss?
I think that's it.
So let me just say to all of our viewers and listeners that tourists from Israel are welcome to come here and practice shooting, right?
Of course.
It's legal for tourists
It's
that are
absolutely
not
legal.
Czech citizens to come here and shoot. And you even offer courses, right?
We even offer courses.
Okay.
Exactly. Like, of course, that there is a pre-exam
Mhm.
when somebody wants to do a course, because we first have to, you know, see what the level of the person is.
Oh, sure, of course. But for if someone just wants to come over and shoot for fun, then that's no problem.
No problem.
And this is, I mean, we're in Prague. It's not some, I don't know, some remote place in the Czech Republic. This is Prague.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I do recommend all of the Israelis that are watching us to, who wants to, you know, learn how to shoot or at least shoot for fun and see what it's like, especially if you're scared of guns, to come here and shoot a little bit for fun.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks very much for this conversation.
Thank you
And
as
well, I hope that things get better in Israel and that things remain as they are in the Czech Republic.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.